Popcorn Poops is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/popcornpoops. Audible.com has over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you, the listeners of Popcorn Poops, the opportunity to check out their service. Today, we're recommending the book The Disaster Artist, My Life Inside the Room, The Greatest Bad Movie Ever Made, by Greg Sestero and Tom Bissell, narrated by Greg Sestero. To download this or another free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/popcornpoops. Again, that's audibletrial.com/popcornpoops for your free audiobook.
My name is Jessica.
And my name is Dustin.
We are the Pumpkin Poops.
Here at Pumpkin Poops HQ, we produce a movie podcast and commentary track hybrid that may be synced up to whatever film we're talking about or enjoyed as a standalone audio program.
Today we will be watching the 1993 film Hocus Pocus, directed by Kenny Ortega. If you are syncing this recording up to the movie, go ahead and start the film and then press pause as soon as the Walt Disney Pictures vanity card completely fades to black.
It's time to start the movie. Syncers, press play at the beep after the countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Again,
I
for the
love
second
this
week in a
movie.
row, Happy Halloween. Also, Happy Halloween next week and the following week until we are done with the Pumpkin Poops. 4 weeks of October, 4 horror films. This is our second one, and this is the scariest of them all.
Absolutely.
Hocus Pocus. I would say that Bette Midler's fake teeth are probably the scariest thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Also, the performances of our young cast.
No. Oh, that's so mean.
But you are right now. If you're watching this movie with us, you should be hearing John Debney's. Yes, that's John Debney's score for this movie. It is not Danny Elfman, although it really
Sounds like it.
really sounds like Danny Elfman.
What did we say? We were trying to decide what movies, and I said Scissorhands, Edward Scissorhands.
There are parts in this movie that sound like Edward Scissorhands. I think this sounds a bit like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And then the main theme that is repeated over and over throughout the movie sounds a lot like Batman.
Yeah, like really a lot like Batman.
A lot like Batman, like the melody of the Batman
is
theme.
that Batman?
So, which is incidentally the name of the next Batman film. Is that Batman?
What?
No. You don't like my jokes, I know. So, yeah, I think John Debney is a...
Oh, and also the music is playing over the...
Oh, that's right.
We
saw the credit, music by John Debney, while we're listening to Sarah Jessica Parker sing a song that's not actually written by John Debney. It's written by...
By who?
James Horner. Who actually was tasked with writing the score for this movie initially, but then he became busy with another project. They brought in John Debney, who promptly ripped off Danny Elfman, and and James Horner came back and wrote one little song for the movie, and that's the witch Sarah, who's I don't know if it's intentional, but she's named after the actress who she has the same name as the actress who plays her, Sarah Jessica Parker. But the witch Sarah sings the "Come Little Children, I'll Take Thee Away" song,
which is wonderful.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it wonderful?
I love it.
Okay.
What? You don't like it?
It's fine. It's fine. I think we're while watching this movie, we're going to come to the realization that you unapologetically...
I am still enchanted by this movie.
I know you are. I wouldn't say that I am, but it's fine.
Oh my God. And when I was like 8 years old, I was enchanted by this boy too.
You know, it's fine to say that when you're 8 years old. But should I reveal how old you are?
I don't care.
You're 27 years old. And this young man is...
I'm not saying now. Did I say now? Did I say I was enchanted by him now?
I mean, and he can't be older than 15 in this, I think. How old do you think this actor is here?
I don't know.
I mean, we could easily find out on IMDb, but that's a little too much work.
But however old he was the appropriate age for how old I was when I was enchanted by him. So don't act like I'm weird. Don't be jelly. You're jelly.
Yes, I'm super jealous of his fully formed prepubescent body. Man.
Oh, I thought he was so cute.
So this is your pick. Why did you pick this movie?
Because my family is really big about Halloween. We always have been. When I was a kid, there was always a party. There was a party every year and they turned into children's parties. My parents eventually gave up and just let the kids' parties overtake their traditions. But we put a huge graveyard and like it's a big deal in my family, and which you and I continue. We have a pretty big party every year, and
It's bigger every year.
unfortunately for Japan, it does. But part of Halloween, of our Halloween traditions, was watching this movie.
Yeah.
Every year we watch this movie. It always just on TV until I think we probably recorded it on VHS at some point and had it so that we could watch it. But it was a big part of my childhood. It still is. I still think of this movie when I think of Halloween.
I missed this movie in theaters. It came out in 1993. This should have been something that I saw in theaters, probably. But I missed it entirely until it was on VHS.
I don't think I ever saw it in theaters.
It was kind of, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that anyone did. It was a critical failure. It was a box office failure. And I think a big part of that was the fact they released it in the summer. This was a summer movie. This was marketed as a big Bette Midler vehicle, and it went up as a summer blockbuster in 1993.
That is really weird. Why would they do this movie in the
weird.
summer?
I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not
this
sure.
movie should have been exactly what it is, which is a Halloween kids movie. There aren't a lot of Halloween kids movies. There aren't a lot of family-friendly Halloween movies. Usually at Halloween, they release a bunch of horror movies, but rarely are they appropriate to take kids to, and kids love Halloween, so that's unfortunate, actually, for them.
This movie went up against... I think that you could say there are some lightly Spielbergian elements in this, what with like the family unit and things like that, and childhood and nostalgia. There's a lot of those themes that kind of run through this. But this went up against another pretty well-known Spielberg film in the summer of 1993.
What?
Jurassic Park.
Whoa.
Yeah.
God, it had no chance.
They thought, I mean, I guess there was no way for them to know, because I don't think Michael Crichton, was he a big thing in 1993, or was Jurassic Park kind of what made him a big thing?
Maybe it was what made him a big thing.
I'm sure.
I mean, I
didn't
read any Michael Crichton until after I saw at least Jurassic Park. The first Michael Crichton I read, I think, was Timeline, though. So, but I don't know. Maybe the movie is what made him big. But I'm sure that the movie was made because he was already really successful as an author. So.
Yeah. Well, even Weird Al Yankovic famously talked about how his movie came out in the summer of 1993, and it went up again. What was it, the summer of 1993, or was it 89 when Batman came out? I remember him talking about his little movie going up against another monster movie, and how it was blown out of the water. Like there was no hope for Weird Al's movie. When did UHF come out?
I didn't know Weird Al had a movie.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 93. It was in 1989, and he talked about. Weird Al has a movie. We should totally do it for Popcorn
That's
Poops,
okay.
because it's great. It's really great.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's not great, but it's great. But he talked about, I think it was in his VH1 Behind the Music or something like that, the little documentary series. He talked about how they brought out his little movie in the summer of Batman. And that's exactly what happened to this movie. They trotted this little movie out in the middle of the Jurassic Park. What was Jurassic Park? I remember that summer. I remember seeing Jurassic Park in the theaters. I didn't know what Hocus Pocus was until at least a year or two later, at least when it was on VHS.
I only remember it from TV. I remember we started, at least in my memory, we didn't start watching it until it was on TV, until it was airing on TV, I guess on the Disney Channel. Was the Disney Channel around back then, the way it is now?
I think so, yeah.
And it became a thing, and we'd get excited every time it came on. Oh, Hocus Pocus is on. We have to watch it. It's really Halloween now. So So
we
missed...
missed a lot of stuff, but I just want to point out that in the first scene of this movie, left of the screen, that's a dead child there. That's a child's corpse.
There are some things in this movie that are surprisingly adult that... I mean, that happens a lot, though, when we go back and look at movies from our childhood. We realize that there were things in it that we didn't notice or didn't quite understand. There was a lot of stuff I didn't understand in this movie, like all the boob jokes.
I think in about 5 minutes, we're also going to witness a hanging.
Yeah.
That's right. Walt Disney Pictures, folks.
Hey, so they were cooler back
then. They're also
whatever.
really hung up, like this whole movie's really hung up on the concept of virginity.
Yeah, they do talk about it a lot.
I believe they use the word virgin 9 times in this movie. 9 times.
Well, I mean, it's part of the prophecy, so they have to say it a bunch.
I get it. But come on. Really? Whether or not one of the characters has had intercourse is a primary plot point in a Disney film.
Of course it's dumb, but I mean...
It's not just dumb. It's kind of inappropriate.
Why? Because it's a children's movie, or because we're getting into the issue of virginity being like a...
Because it's a children's movie. Because it's a children's movie. I don't think it belongs in a children's movie. It doesn't, I mean, like that's the kind of thing that you watch this movie with your family, right? And a little kid, I would show this to a child. It's clearly made for children. And as soon as they start calling this guy a virgin, oh, he's a virgin. He has to be a virgin to do this. Oh, well, he's a virgin. Did you hear? My brother's a virgin.
They're jokes that went over the kid. They went over my head when I was a kid.
No. There's a difference between a joke going over the child's head and to the parent and being a touchstone for the movie to repeatedly go back to, where this guy, whatever a virgin is to a kid, the character that comes up later, Max, whatever a virgin is to a child, that's what Max is. I don't know if I'm a child, I don't know what that is, but he's one of those. Once I tie those two things together, I'm turning to mom and dad and going, what is a virgin?
Well, and then you just opened the door for a very enlightening conversation with your parents, so good job. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but it's interesting to say.
There are things in this movie that are way worse than them talking about virgins or not virgins.
Speaking of worse, we're about to witness an execution.
Again, why? I mean, if you want to get into this, we can go back and we can look at a bunch of the animated Disney feature films that start with really horrible things.
No, I know. No, it's just...
I mean, some of the characters, some of the villains get killed in incredibly gruesome,
you're absolutely right.
Incredibly gruesome ways.
You're absolutely right. And in most Disney films, for whatever reason, the kid's parents die. That's it's a tragic, terrible thing. I think that's the first time she said virgin and cackled.
So like there's some interesting stuff about the spell book itself that I kept trying to pause it because we've missed it already, but there were already some moments here where we saw inside the spell book. We saw inside the Sanderson sisters spell book.
It's a real shame they didn't go the next step, and when we see their dangling legs, we also see their bowels void.
Oh my God.
No voiding of the bowels?
Oh, Dustin, you're getting so serious about this so soon. I thought we'd at least be like 15 minutes into it before you were freaking out.
That's right. That guy's name is Thackeray Binks.
Yeah, Thackeray.
Who is named Thackeray?
Everyone thought it was Zachary. There are people named Thackeray, actually.
From history?
Yes. A very famous author, William Makepeace Thackeray.
That's a last name.
Yeah, but it's a name.
Nope. I'm not buying it.
He wrote Vanity Fair.
Okay. All right then. Fine.
His name was also often confused with Zachary, as I thought the character's name was in this movie when I was a child. All of us thought that it was Zachary, right?
Yeah, I think so. Moving on. What did you have to say about the spell book? Which is a great movie prop, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Really cool.
The best movie prop in this movie?
Yes. Yeah, probably. Unless you want to count Doug Jones's head that gets knocked off.
Oh, God, I hate this scene. We're in the classroom.
This scene has so much cringe in it.
It does. Oh, no. When like, she gets high... So she's about to do her, like, high and mighty little speech about Halloween, and then she gets high-fived for it afterwards.
She just actually the shit out of him. Actually,
and
a
look,
Halloween
high five,
night.
and
She
the
got a
whole
high
class
five.
cheers.
And then it goes one step further, and he uses this opportunity to give her his number. It's like, well, in case Jimi Hendrix shows up with my number.
The thing is when she gives him the number back, like she folds it back up and she passes it back to him. I never understood that when I was a kid. It opens up and I see his name on the piece of paper, and I'm like, when I was a kid, I was always like, I don't get it. Who's Max? What's this paper? Why did she just give him? Is that him? Did she just give him his number? I don't get it. Like, I totally could not grasp what was going on until I was way older. And then I was like, oh, okay.
So what about that spell book?
Yes, spell book. So in the very beginning, we see her recipe for the life potion, which is the potion that she's going to use to suck the life out of Emily. What?
No, I'm just fondly remembering the child's corpse in the first scene of this, this family motion picture.
So the potion that I read in the book, I paused it and it said, bringeth to a full rousing bubble, then add 2 drops oil of boil and a dead man's toe. Next,
man's toe.
Next, add a dab of newt saliva, dash of pox, stir thrice, one final thing, and all is done. Add a pinch of thine own tongue. Administer something to the victim and whatever. But when she's like saying the stuff she's adding, she says stuff like mix blood of owl with the herb that's red, and turn 3 times. They do say stir thrice, but pluck a hair from my head. It wasn't. She's just making shit up.
Jessica, she can't read.
But
it was 1693.
Then why is she so intent on getting the spell book back if she couldn't read it? I guess, whatever. Every cook is going to add their own little touches to make their potions.
We've already passed some pretty significant anachronisms, or maybe not even anachronisms, but just goofs, like things that are totally wrong. He was in school.
Yes, here we go.
But Halloween 1993 was on a Sunday.
Yes, it was. And also, what is a key point of the prophecy in this movie?
Full moon.
The full moon. And there was no full moon in 1993 on Halloween. The one that happened closest to that, like the one before it, was in 1974. And then there was one in 2001. And the next is going to be in 2020.
Oh, wow, that'll be fun.
Yeah, and it's on a Saturday, too, which hasn't happened since, 1925 and won't happen again until, the next century.
These bullies in the graveyard make fun of him so hard for being, from California, when they look and act so much more early 90s California than he does. And they're supposed to be in New England. Where did these kids get their fashion sense from?
Yeah. Oh God, the ice thing on the back of his head is just and the fat rolls on under the skin. Oh God.
There was a good joke there we just missed where Max makes fun of
to breathe through your nose.
Yeah.
He has a thing about people breathing close to him.
Does he?
Later on, he comments about Billy's breath. Just don't breathe on me. He says.
That's a motif.
Anyway, so, by the way, did you notice that we never saw them give the potion to Emily? We never saw Emily drink the potion.
You mentioned that the other night when you were watching it, and I've never noticed that either.
They
do it later for sure.
They get really close
not
to her
Emily,
with the
but
spoon,
to Danny.
But then Thackeray jumps in and stops them, and then they're dancing around the cauldron with him. And as far as I saw, they never actually give her the potion, but she's all glowy, so I guess she just opened her mouth and some fell in.
Oh, here's
or
Charles
something.
Rocket playing Max's dad. Charles Rocket, rest in peace.
I love his line where they see that their son doesn't have any shoes, and he's like, must be some form of protest.
Yeah. There's a line later in the movie where Max is pissed and he says something, or maybe he just said it. I think I missed it. But he tells Max to watch his language, which is
no, it was in that scene.
Was in that scene, yeah. He tells Max
he
to
says sucks.
I think? Something like that. Charles Rocket, that's probably a reference to Charles Rocket, who famously dropped the F-bomb on Saturday Night Live when he was a cast member. And that was kind of a big deal when he did that. He did it on live TV and they couldn't cut it.
Oopsie. Yeah. Oopsie.
Oh, Thora Birch as Danny. Oh, look at little Thora Birch before her dad ruined her career with his creepiness.
What?
You don't know anything about that?
No,
oh,
I don't know
God.
who this is.
Thora Birch is an actress that...
I know she's the little girl that's cute in this movie but has a really big forehead.
She does. She does have a bit of a 5 head. She can join that club with Christina Ricci. And,
yeah, totally.
I like how he deals with his problems by playing drums. But Thora Birch is a young actress that you would probably know best from a movie that I know you're going to make us watch on Popcorn Poops.
What?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
I know you do. That hurts me.
Oh
that
my
hurts
God,
me to
I
know
haven't
that that's
seen it in
my
like
future.
1,000 years.
But she
that's
plays
such
the Empress in that
such
movie.
a great movie.
She plays the
Okay,
Empress in that movie.
yeah. She has a 5 head in that too.
That's you can't just get rid of the 5 head, Jess.
I wish really hard.
I have a bit of a 5 head myself.
Now you have a bald head. That's different. It goes all the way over to the back.
It's every year it gets closer and closer to a 6 and a 7 and 8 head. I like how they have a picture of their own house inside their house. Do you see that right there? That
They
portrait?
totally do. I love their town. Their town and their house and the leaves on the ground and all of it is like utter fall Halloween like perfection to me. I mean, I my grandparents are from New England, so I spent a lot of time in New England when I was a kid. Even though we both grew up in the South, but that the fall in this movie, the image of fall and of Halloween in this movie is like my ideal fantasy fall Halloween. It's just so perfect, except for this. If kids were ever on my front porch throwing a pumpkin, because the parents are there, they just trick-or-treated at the house, so the parents are standing right inside.
Yeah.
And if I saw teenagers out on
shit.
my yard throwing my pumpkin,
Maybe one of them lives here.
one of those kids, and you let your own, that's even worse. You're letting your own child harass
how
your
do you think they got
trick-or-treaters?
this way in the first place?
No, there's no way.
Poor parenting.
If they were not children that I felt okay with going out and reprimanding like they were my kindergarten students, then I would call the cops on them. So, what? I mean, really, they're harassing all these little kids. It's awful. And adults do nothing in this movie, of course, because it's a children's fantasy horror movie. So adults just don't exist.
At least they introduce it into the plot when Winifred, Bette Midler's character, casts a spell, a curse on the adults that they will dance until they die. They'll just continue dancing. So she
right,
literally takes their agency from them to do anything.
So we get rid of them. But at this point, there are adults inside this house right now.
Yes.
And they just can't see what's happening in their front yard that they just looked at. Whatever. Some of the other things you were talking about, like historical inconsistencies.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't
stuff.
call them anachronisms. They're not really. I mean, I'm sure that the scene from before, like in 1693, was full of anachronisms, and the way the witches act, some of the lines that they have, some of the jokes they make are very anachronistic for where the time period that they're supposed to be coming from. They seem to not. It kind of starts as a fish out of water type thing where they, exit the house and they see the road and they call it a black river, and they have Sarah Jessica Parker's character go into the black river and she jumps and she says, "'Tis firm," and Winifred's like, "It's a road," and they discover, and then they run into the fire engine, and then they get all scared and run away. But after that scene, they really don't do that anymore. In fact, they start making jokes like, pull your car to the side of the road, and talking about like butter.
They
and
do. They talk
margarine.
about margarine. Yeah, when we get to it, they
mention
reference margarine, which was not invented yet.
Also, Winifred knows the song "I Put a Spell on You."
Right, but like that, we can say that I can suspend my disbelief enough to think that while she was in there hunting for the kids that she could hear the song playing and just, she's a witch. Maybe she magically memorized it and came up with harmonies for her sisters to sing.
I'll accept it.
Whatever.
Sure.
But like some of the stuff I'm talking about is when she's trying to figure out what she's going to do to Thackeray, she's like going through her spell book, like amnesia, bunions, whatever. And one of the things she says is cholera. And I could be wrong. I'm not like a...
You usually are.
I'm not like a medical historian or anything like that. But I tried to do some research on it because, I don't know, something was just irking me about it. And as I understand, cholera did not spread from the Indian subcontinent until the 1800s.
Well, there you go.
Not that the term couldn't have... I mean, the term's been around for a really long time, and cholera itself has been documented into, like, the ancient times. But I don't know. I feel like unless maybe they were using the same term, but just using it not for specifically cholera.
Did you notice that outside Allison's house here, they stopped and, stood in awe, mouths agape at the rich people's house? Mm. Their house is just as nice as their...
I don't think it's just as nice. Their house is much smaller than this house.
You really? I think it looks
No, their house is much smaller than this house. They do have a nice house, but it's much smaller than this one. I would totally love this party, though. I mean,
really,
whatever about rich people, but are you kidding? Dressing up as like colonials and stuff, and no.
I would do it if it was like a zombie masquerade party.
Okay,
where, like,
no, that would be cooler.
Powdered wigs plus zombies.
That would be much better. Agreed. But I still think it would be fun to dress up in like those fancy wigs.
This scene in which a young child initiates a conversation about another miner's breasts.
When I was the young child's age, which was the age that I was when I was watching this movie, I had boobs too, actually, and I talked about them. So I don't see what the big deal is. Again, and if I had an older brother to make fun of and embarrass, then I totally would have.
Did you call them yabos?
No, I had never heard that term until this movie. I think this movie invented it.
I think it did too. Doing a little research online before this, everything that I came across about that particular piece of vocabulary was like, yabos? Where did that come from? It's interesting to say the least. But yeah, that was when I was young. If someone were to say something to me like, look at the yabos on this little fat kid, referring to me.
What?
I would have known what they were talking about because of Hocus Pocus, thanks to
my God.
Kenny Ortega. Kenny Ortega also has made a living after this, basically doing such legendary cinematic masterpieces as High School Musical, High School Musical 2, and High School Musical 3 senior year.
Oh, God.
He did the High School Musical trilogy. He's also done a few other things, but I would say that those are probably what he's most well known for. He also did the Michael Jackson documentary This Is It. But yeah, the thing that really interests me about that, or the thing that I find interesting about that, is that when rewatching this, I really realized how much of a Disney Channel original movie it felt like. Like the sets are kind of cheap.
I like the witch's house, though.
Yeah, the witch's house is nice, but the sets are kind of cheap. The special effects are pretty dated, especially for being from the same year that Jurassic Park came out, and those special effects still look amazing. And then you look at
this movie had to have cost. By the way, what store fills their lighters for you?
This one. That's customer service, sweetheart. Maybe you've heard of it.
Okay.
But the same year that Jurassic Park comes out, and God bless the people that worked on the special effects for this movie, because I'm sure that they worked their asses off. It was a company called Rhythm and Hues that did specifically the special effects for Binks the cat, which looks kind of...
I don't think he looks that bad.
It's kind of dated. I think he looks kind of dated,
but I don't think he looks that bad.
Not that bad. And one thing I heard about them was that...
What, 20 years?
Yeah, it's been they celebrated. They did a 20-year reunion thing at Disney World last year.
Oh, that would have been fun.
to go to.
I'm really sad I missed it.
Bette Midler didn't show up.
I don't care about that.
I don't know. Actually, I know Doug Jones was there. I know Kathy Najimy was there. I can't remember who else was there. I watched like 5 minutes of it and got bored. But I know that Rhythm and Hughes spent a lot of time making the cat look like a cat. Like they really, really wanted to focus on the features of what makes a cat really, really look like a cat. And then when they showed their finished product to the filmmakers, I guess it was the producers that said, no, it's too scary. Its fangs are really long. It looks vicious. Its nose is too pointed. And I mean, that's kind of what a cat looks like. If one of our two cats started talking to us and baring its teeth,
it'd be kind of terrifying.
Making words, it would be terrifying. So they had to kind of make the fangs shorter and make the snout a little bit shorter and soften the features of the face. So, yeah, the cat does. I think that's part of what makes the cat look a little cartoony and it certainly doesn't help.
But I think they blend it really well with the real cat. Oh, by the way, so I love the little nod. Again, you say you don't like it, but I like the little nod that we have right there where he asks if she wants to light the candle and she's like, no. And I mean, now granted, if she, it could go either way, because if she is a virgin and she believes in this stuff, then she doesn't want to do it because she doesn't want to bring the witches back.
Right.
But also I've read some stuff online that kind of hint at, maybe she was saying that because she's not a virgin or something like that. But again, if she believes in it, then
that's a level of subtext that I don't even want to think about because they're minors. I'm sorry. We're talking about a movie starring minors.
Minors definitely don't have sex, so
no. Jessica, I understand, but this isn't kids. This isn't a Larry Clark film. I mean, for fuck's sake, it's Hocus fucking Pocus.
I know, but they're like senior year teenagers. I mean, whatever. Anyways, I love the little moment here where she pretends like she's a witch and she tries to get on their good side for a second because she's
it doesn't
a witch
work
too,
at all.
and it just doesn't work. They're just
she's
like,
sassy.
yeah, sure, we're gonna eat you.
She's got personality. I think Thora Birch could have been something really excellent, and like I was saying before, creepy dad kind of ruined it for her. I didn't really get into that, but I think probably the most famous or the most well-known thing that she's done is probably American Beauty, followed by Ghost World, which she's great in both of those movies. And following that, her dad he was her manager, and he made decisions for her about movies. He was apparently really hard to work with. He also did creepy stuff. Like there was another movie she did, like a direct-to-DVD or a Lifetime movie or something, where there's a sex scene, and he wanted to be on set during the filming of the sex scene and was like arguing with the filmmaker saying that they weren't making his daughter sexy enough.
Oh, weird.
And then like as the sex scene is being filmed, he looks at Thora Birch's scene partner, who like kind of catches his eye and gives him the thumbs up while he's pretend banging his daughter. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Real classy fella.
Oh, God.
Actually,
that's really disgusting.
Her parents are famously from the adult film industry. They both were in and worked on
okay, so
the
at
very
least, maybe
movie, Deep Throat. You've heard of Deep Throat, right?
Yeah.
So they both were in that movie and worked on it, and they were, adult film stars in their own right. But yeah,
that's weird. I don't think it matters. It's still really weird.
Super creepy. He basically ruined her career, as I understand it. But I think she's trying to make a comeback now, or she's maybe fired him or something. She's put stuff on her blog. She's very outspoken, kind of an activist of sorts.
A lot of actresses and actors are.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
We missed a joke that I didn't get when I was a kid again because it actually was too old for me. They made a New Kids on the Block joke. And yeah, they call him, what are you supposed to be, a new kid on the block? And like I was like, who the hell are the new kids on the block? because it was all Backstreet Boys and NSYNC for me, and New Kids on the Block were like
a little before.
They were like my friends who had older siblings were into New Kids on the Block, but I didn't know who they were. So
I'm going to mention something about Bette Midler's performance as Winifred here. Not just here, but in the entire movie, that once I say it, I think you're not going to be able to see anything else. I'm ready to ruin that for you.
What?
It doesn't really ruin it. I think her performance is very, very heavily influenced by Dustin Hoffman's performance in Hook. I think she acts like Dustin Hoffman's Captain Hook.
Okay, I can see that, like the whiny, depressed kind of like.
It's not only that, but not just the moodiness and whatnot, but I think also the kind of the timbre of her voice and the cadence and the diction and the type of really super affected British accent that she's using.
Yeah.
It really reminds me of his performance in that movie, which I think is a really good performance. He's probably my favorite thing about the movie Hook, which we did for Popcorn Poops several months ago. I don't think she sells it quite as well as he does, but it's a very enjoyable performance, I think. She gets a little. I think all of the witches actually get a little bit scenery chewy. They munch on the scenery a little bit and get a little bit over the top, I think. In context, it works. In the context of the kind of movie we're watching, it's perfectly fine. Like this little goofy.
Well, I mean,
comedy.
it is. It's a cartoony movie. Like when you think of this
cartoon,
movie, it's a cartoon movie. By the way, he's the only one who gets to react to the cat talking. Nobody else is going to react to it. Later, he's like,
I never
he's like,
that.
The cat. Oh yeah, the cat talks, and they're like, oh. Okay.
Oh, that's right. He does say that.
And they're just like, okay. And
BT Dubs, cat talks. Oh, right.
Of
course he does.
So I did some research because he does the little Hollywood thing where, oh gosh, we need a distraction.
He summons a flame in his hand.
And
what did they say? I don't know.
Yeah, and then he holds the Zippo up to the sprinkler, which the Zippo, which should not conceivably have any lighter fluid in it, and he holds it up to the sprinkler, and the sprinkler goes off, and all the sprinklers in the building go off and soak the whole room. So this is a thing that a lot of movies do for distraction. Can you think of any others that do this kind of thing? That do like the sprinkler thing?
I know that it's done in other movies. I can't
like
think.
Some of the stuff I found was like Hollow Man, that stupid movie.
I don't remember anything about that movie.
I think Aliens does it.
Oh,
maybe it's Aliens.
Okay. I'm trying to remember when that is.
I don't know.
All right.
Anyway, so a lot of movies do the sprinkler distraction. Like someone climbs up onto a table or a chair and they hold up a bic to the sprinkler, and then the whole building is flooded with. Right. And so I did some research on it, and at first I had to figure out how sprinklers actually work. So the sprinkler itself should have either a little glass bulb or a little disc-shaped metal alloy called a eutectic. I could be saying that very wrong.
Did you find a forum for sprinkler installer people?
I totally think I did.
Oh my!
And
the internet is a wonderful, weird place.
It is, and so what this eutectic does, or the glass bulb, when it's hot, it breaks, or the eutectic melts. It's a metal alloy that can melt under really low temperatures, and when it melts, it triggers the release of the water. So the water comes out of that sprinkler. But if you think about it, the way that works then is that only that particular sprinkler, only the one that's exposed to the heat, is going to give off the water.
Can I ask, why does Binks tell them all this stuff about Billy Butcherson? He leads them over to his grave and just tells the story, and he's like, yep, she's a pretty jealous lady. All right, let's go.
Well, I mean, why? Obviously, because they're putting it in there later, so it's not totally random when they bring him back from the dead later in the movie. But at the sacrifice of it being totally random right there that they explained it to us. So it was going to be totally random either way, I guess, because they didn't know how to write it. So, anyway, so sprinklers. So
we're still on sprinklers.
But I'm saying that sprinkler, like how it should work in real life, how it should work is that only one sprinkler would go off. Only the sprinkler that's exposed to the heat would give off the water. So all the other sprinklers.
So the way he does it would work. It would
work, but only on
for the
him.
One. Oh, okay.
It wouldn't spray anyone else or anything else.
That would have been a great comedic moment if they had actually stuck to like the real world, if they had taken a realist perspective and maintained the verisimilitude of what actually happens in that situation.
Right, and then you just
and then everyone could laugh at
You're in an action scene and someone's like, I've got to escape this spy movie, and then they're like, and they just get soaking wet, and everyone's like, what the
shit.
hell are you doing? Now, there are sprinkler systems, apparently, that can like set off, trigger all of them to go off at one, but they're only used in what is called high challenge areas, which are places like flammable liquid storage facilities and stuff like that. And I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think that a local museum about some witches counts as a high challenge area. So
no, probably not.
So that wouldn't have happened.
I mean, it did have the black flame candle. and if the scene in the classroom is to be believed, these people are fucking serious about Halloween and some witches and shit.
Yeah, they are.
Bing's character is explaining his life story while standing on the grave of his sister, which says that she died on October 31st, 1693, which would have been, the day of the scene that we saw at the beginning of the movie.
300 years ago.
And, there was a shot there where you could really clearly see it. 300 years, right down to the day, as she says in her song later on. Interesting thing about that. The Salem witch trials ended in May of 1693.
Well, no, I thought it was 1690. Oh, ended in 1693.
Ended in May of 1693.
Well, I mean, Dustin, the Sanderson sisters weren't real.
What?
So what? I don't think it matters. Hey, they were trying. At least they did enough research to know what year they should.
Same year, close enough.
I don't think they were trying to say that these were witches from the Salem witch trials. Because, I mean, then if we are, then we have to deal with the whole fact that the Salem witch trials are largely regarded, and by largely I mean entirely regarded, as a terrible, horrible thing that happened to people because of religious bigotry and superstition, where innocent people were killed in terrible ways.
I expected this movie to go into that.
You're being sarcastic again.
So the spell book becomes this movie's mulligan that basically motivates the witches to do the things that they do throughout the movie and chase the kids around the town. How they know, like there are several scenes where the kids end up at some place and the witches also end up there, and you don't know how the witches found the kids. They just kind of show up, which is, whatever. I mean, later in the movie...
Wait, don't know how the witches found the kids when?
There are several moments throughout the movie where the kids show up in various places around town.
And
the witches
at the party.
Just, like at the party. There's a couple of places. Well, not only at the party, but then at the high school after that. They're like, oh, let's go to the high school and we'll lock them in the kiln and kill them horribly. Like they're mortal. Like they're alive right now. They're people.
Also, have you ever seen a high school with a walk-in kiln?
No.
I'm pretty sure our high school did not even have a kiln.
Here's one of the best parts of the movie. Mr. Doug Jones playing Billy the Butcher Butcherson, who, as far as I'm concerned, is the original Bill the Butcher. Daniel Day-Lewis can suck it. But he does such a great job. I mean, he's one of the best physical actors, like as in giving those really wild and wacky physical performances.
Now, this is the prop that you say is better than the book. It
was a joke. Head. It was a joke. These are all jokes. This movie.
The whole movie is a joke.
The whole movie is just a joke with no punchline. Yeah, Doug Jones probably. What do you think Doug Jones is most famous for? I guess.
Why are you asking me?
I guess now he's probably most famous for playing Abe Sapien in the Hellboy movies. He also plays
I know that.
the
movie.
Pan or the Faun in Pan's Labyrinth. Also in that same movie, he plays the eyeless monster and has the eyes on his hands. What else did he do? Oh, he also did the mocap for the Silver Surfer in the second Fantastic Four movie, which Weta did the special effects for. Maybe the only good thing about that entire movie.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, the rest of the movie's garbage.
Why Fantastic Four. Oh, God.
Yeah. But yeah,
those poor movies.
That's Doug Jones right there. Seems to be a really nice guy. One of my
Broom
friends.
ho.
One of our friends, Lehman Kessler and his wife Rachel have a podcast. They call it a married geek Christian podcast called Geequally Yoked, and they actually had Doug Jones on for a nice 1-hour interview, and they talked to him a little bit about Hocus Pocus. And
That's cool.
I'm going to bring that back up later. But you guys listening should go check out their podcast. It's very, very interesting stuff. Kind of a look at the geek world and Star Wars and science fiction and fantasy and games and lots of different topics focused on like geek stuff from a spiritual, religious Christian angle. It's very interesting. Even for someone who is not religious, I think that you can get something out of it. It's really interesting stuff. So this is where the movie, I think they've explained the plot, what they have to do, why they have to get the book. And I don't know that it makes a whole lot of sense. Kind of feels like a case of, script writing Calvin Ball, just making it up as they go along.
Oh, Calvin Ball.
Because at the beginning of the movie, I'm going to ask you a question. At the beginning of the movie, they brew a potion to do what?
To suck the life out of a child to get younger.
Right. So we learn later, because we don't actually see them feed the potion to the child, but we can assume that they make the potion, they feed it to the child's spirit then becomes edible or consumable to them, and then they like literally stand around the child and just suck the air, and it makes them younger. Then when they are hanged, Winifred casts a spell, or I guess they all cast a spell together so that they could be resurrected on Halloween when there's a full moon, and like these things have to converge, but it has to be Halloween with a full moon and a virgin has to light the black flame candle.
Right.
When all of those things happen, they will come back. That's all they say at the beginning of the movie. They come back, and then they explain that they need to find their spell book because the spell only lasts for one night. So they have to find the spell book to cast another spell to make it permanent so that they won't die or they won't turn into dust at sunup. The spell that they have to cast is not actually a spell. It's a potion they have to brew. And it's the same potion that they had to brew at the beginning, where they basically just do the same thing. So they brew the potion from the beginning to give to a child to suck the life out of the child to do something else that is not become young. What?
To stay alive?
To stay. So now
it's a potion. Well, it's a life. The potion in the book just says life potion.
Okay.
So
okay, all right.
So maybe if we're trusting the book, but trusting the book though, however, didn't prove very, very helpful to us in the beginning. It also in that hangman scene. And the book flips really fast, and if you are quick with your pause finger, then you can pause it on pages of the book, like I tediously tried to do. And like I was trying to find some of the...
Let's pause real quick and look at this traumatizing shit. The cat, the lovely talking cat in the Disney picture, has been run over by a bus.
And he is flattened on his tummy.
He is flat. He's not just laying there like, oh, it's...
I was so devastated as a child.
Now he's reinflating, and you can hear his bones cracking.
It's realistic.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
Anyway, so when the book is flipping...
I'm just saying, that could be traumatizing.
It was traumatizing for me as a child. What are you talking about?
And now I know what's wrong with you.
No, it's far more than that. So when the book is flipping and I was pausing on the pages, the black flame candle, it lands on a page, and on the left side it says... or it says spells to resurrect the dead, black flame candle spell. And
pause real quick. Sarah Jessica Parker just made another sex joke.
Yeah, did you hear the one before that where that the bus driver makes?
What did he say?
Where they say we need to find children or something,
Oh,
or
yeah.
we need I can take you to your desire, and they say we desire children, and he says might take me a couple tries, but I don't think that would be a problem.
Yeah, the bus driver tries to get Sarah Jessica Parker's character to stick around, and she says, "Thou wouldst hate me in the morning." Anyway,
so the black flame candle spell that it flipped to for a second right before they were hung says, "One All Hallows Eve, when the moon is round, a virgin will summon thee from under the ground." That's all it says. And then it has some Latin or some fake Latin. I don't know.
Pseudo-Latin.
Some of the words translated into real Latin, but some of them didn't. And that's either because they weren't real or because I couldn't read the script that was from that book. But they never said the Latin, which I presume is what they needed to say to cast the spell. They never said anything. She just goes, "Ah, ha, ha, ha. Oh, you are fooled because we're going to come back from the dead. The book told me so." But they never cast a spell,
Good
actually.
enough. Yeah, maybe.
Like usually they have to say some hibberty-gibberty, malu, mystical, whatever thing.
That's a very good segue into
the etymology of Hocus Pocus.
Yes, I would like to talk about that just a little bit because it does have a little bit to do with some pseudo-Latin. The phrase Hocus Pocus originates...
By the way, I always hated this when I was a kid, when this guy who's pretending to be a cop is such a jerk to them when they're asking him for help.
It does kind of make sense in the story, though, because without this scene, you could very easily say, why don't they go to the cops?
Why don't they go to the police? Yeah, true.
And in this
it upset
scene,
me when I was a kid, though.
Yeah, it's a little troublesome. I can see that. But the phrase Hocus Pocus originates from Hax Pax Max Deus Adamax, which is a pseudo-Latin phrase used as a magic formula by conjurers, or used to be. It kind of became Hocus Pocus after that. And it may also be a corruption, like that longer version of it, the Hax Pax Max Deus Adamax, may also be a corruption of the liturgy of the Eucharist, which contains the phrase Hocus Corpus Meum, or This is my body. In the Netherlands, Hocus Pocus is usually followed by Pilatus Pas, and this may be based on a post-Reformation parody of the traditional Roman Catholic ritual of transubstantiation, as it resembles Hocus Corpus sub Pontio Pilato passus et sepultus est, or This is my body, under Pontius Pilate he suffered and was buried. So,
this movie really could not decide what kind of mythology it wanted to be based off of. It just mixes all sorts of stuff. Like, again, with my tedious pausing on the spell book, there was one page, the page that was next to the black flame candle spell was said on the right side was, on the left was the black flame candle, and on the right was a page that said Magician's Pact, to summon demons, utterance of the 9 divines and mystic names. And then it lists these divine and mystic names, and they are all some form of the word God in Hebrew. Like
I saw El Shaddai.
El Shaddai, which is one of the Judaic names of God. Tetragrammaton? Tetragrammaton?
I love this scene with Gary Marshall and Penny Marshall, brother and sister, playing husband and wife. That might be my favorite scene.
I love
in the
these
movie.
3 girls who are dressed as the Sanderson sisters,
Steal
stealing
their
the
brooms.
brooms and then really riding off
and
on them.
flying off. Which begs the question, is it the witches that are magical or the brooms that are magical?
Well, it
because
must be the brooms, unless these girls are witches.
Sequel.
Anyways,
but later on, they don't use those brooms. They use like a house broom and a mop and a vacuum cleaner.
They do. I think that's cute.
I do too. I like that a lot.
Tetragrammaton, grammaton can be transliterated from Hebrew into Yahweh.
Wow.
Other words were like Elohim.
Sounds
You've
like a
heard
transformer.
that before, I'm sure. It's one of the words for God in ancient and modern Hebrew. All of them are either some version of God or like divine essence, or mean like it's like a male name for strong or something, all from Hebrew. So we've got like this Hebrew mythology going on in here, this Old Testament stuff. And then on another random page, there was something about the incantation of Marduk, which is Mesopotamian Sumerian. Like he was the creator of the world in like Babylonian mythology and stuff. So they just really mix all their mythology in this without any care whatsoever of trying to develop something.
We missed it a second ago, but Penny Marshall smoking, despite all of the things in this movie that I think today would certainly give it at least a PG-13 rating, what with the cracking bones and the roadkill, talking character
and baby
cat
jokes
and the breast jokes and all the talk about virgins and whatnot, the smoking alone would make this movie a PG-13.
And her drinking hard liquor.
And yeah, exactly. The smoking alone would make this a PG-13 today. Which is, I guess we can thank Rob Reiner for that. But so they're finally coming to terms. They've finally discovered, I guess, that Halloween has become a festival of candy and children dressing up as ghouls and goblins and running around and running amok, as she's saying right here, and Sarah Jessica Parker loses her mind. Which brings me to I think that the easy descriptor for Sarah Jessica Parker's character is dumb blonde, like the dumb blonde in this trio. I think that would be appropriate if they all weren't so stupid.
They all are.
All three of them. Winifred is slightly perceptive, slightly less stupid. She's a little bit more perceptive, a little bit better at like problem solving than the other two.
She's the dumb and the dumb and dumber and dumberest.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Dumbest.
Yeah, but they're all just terribly, terribly stupid.
Yeah, but that makes them hilarious. So I mean, they're the best part of this movie.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. All of the adults in this movie make it worth watching, because of course, when you see why he says that though, he's wearing pajamas under the cape. Did you ever notice that?
No.
So his costume is pajamas and like a vampire cape.
Whatever.
God bless you, Charles Rocket. Also, their mom's costume.
Oh yeah, I love. We're about to hit it where she's got the Madonna boobs on, and I love the moment when her daughter's like, she's like, I'm Madonna, and her daughter's just like, what? And the mom gets really self-conscious right here. Don't you think? Like she's really worried that she doesn't look like Madonna right now. Mm-hmm. She has no concern that her daughter's.
She looks at her tits though. She's like, look,
right,
the tits
Madonna,
alone,
right?
That's all I need, right? This is a fun scene, but it also highlights another interesting problem that I find with the movie, that none of these can really be called problems because of the type of movie it is. It's just
a silly movie. It's just for fun.
It's a
and you better get used to it, because we will continue to be watching this for the rest of our lives, especially if we ever have kids. I mean, definitely. It will happen every year.
All right. That's fine. I'm not saying I dislike this movie. I'm just saying when I watch it, sometimes I have to smack my face repeatedly and say, stupid. But the song he's singing right now is...
I love her disdain.
Is he singing the Halloweenized version of the song? I think he's singing the actual song. But it's I Put a Spell on You. Or I'll Put a Spell on You, I Put a Spell on You, something like that. And of course, Winifred starts singing later, and Max thinks right now, Max has gotten the brilliant idea that he's going to run up onto the stage and take the microphone from the MC, or the guy who's singing, and say, hey everybody, the Sanderson sisters have come back to life. We need to gang up on them and kill them right now. There they are. They've just come in.
Yeah, by the way, why didn't they just use the talking cat to make everyone believe them in this scene?
I know, right?
Right?
You've got
if
a
they
talking
just
cat.
Picked up the cat and were like, talk into the microphone, kitty. Yep. Or at least to their parents.
Here. I'll hold it for you. You don't have opposable thumbs.
People would believe, at least their parents would believe if they were close up.
So, and they're laughing at him, because they think he's joking around and whatnot, and he's being serious. But earlier in the film, we've already established that this town is very, very credulous about this whole, Hocus Pocus.
As you said at one point, incredibly credulous.
Yes, incredibly credulous. They are, but they very much are. That's what we establish in that classroom scene where everybody gangs up on Max for saying it's a conspiracy with the candy companies, and then Allison's like,
right, but
well, actually, and she gets a high five. She gets a high five, and it's a big deal. Like, we've established this town believes this
really,
stuff.
Okay, like I can be all into this stuff. I can be all excited about it and want to believe in the Sanderson sisters and get totally psyched for witches on Halloween, but I don't actually believe in it. And I mean, that's what I take this town to be, is that they have fun with it. They think it's fun. Their town has a super cool history with you know, like, okay, so our house, right, is a perfect example. Our house has a locally famous history of the murder that took place in our house,
yes,
and
which we'll have to talk about someday.
At some point, yes. So and we play it up, like when we have a Halloween party and stuff, we play it up and we tell the story and we make a big theatrical thing about it, but we don't actually fear for ghosts in our house or something. I mean, it's the same thing. You can enjoy something and talk about it and have fun with the history and the superstition behind it without actually believing in it.
This is the second best scene in the entire movie.
This song is so wonderful.
First,
I love this.
Best scene it's already passed is Penny Marshall, Gary Marshall playing husband and wife. That's best scene.
I don't think that's the best scene.
No, it's the best scene. Second best scene is
I never
is
liked
this
that
party.
scene as a child.
When Bette Midler took the stage initially to start singing this Halloween version of I Put a Spell on You, which is actually really cool.
Yes, it is.
I like it a lot.
I love it.
But she takes the stage and she says, "Hello, Salem. My name is Winifred. What's yours?" This is kind of a reference of the famous line, "Hello, world. My name is Rose. What's yours?" that is spoken by Mama Rose in the musical Gypsy. Bette Midler played Mama Rose in the television version of Gypsy that came out in the same year, 1993. And I think that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, they're making a little in joke.
Yeah, it's a nod.
You know, they do other things like that in this movie too, like Sarah Jessica Parker's hair, right? Where it goes from straight to curly and straight to curly throughout the movie. Have you been noticing that?
No, I haven't.
Have you not? Okay.
Wow, I need to pay closer attention to
Her
Hocus
hair,
Pocus.
Her hair goes straight to curly. Okay.
Why?
And well, one of the things I read from one of the lists of like crazy things in Hocus Pocus is that possibly it could be a reference to Dorothy's hair in The Wizard of Oz, which famously goes from short to long, like the length of it changes throughout the movie. And that maybe that also I had heard something like that there's also a scene in here that uses the witch thematic music from Wizard of Oz. And that maybe it's like an in-joke or it's a reference to Wizard of Oz. So Scrod, do you know what that is? I know she explained it to you.
She explained it. Is it like a shrimp?
No, it's not like a shrimp.
What is it?
Scrod is a young white fish, a white fish being something like cod or haddock or something like that. And I read some interesting stuff about Scrod. Some people believe that it was an acronym, that the name came up as an acronym for either seaman's catch received on deck or small cod remaining on deck, basically meaning that whatever like they caught for that day was going to be what they put into that. Like, it didn't matter what the fish was. But actually it's probably just a backronym. Have you ever heard of a backronym?
What is that?
Where you already take a word and like a word that already exists, and then you go backwards and say like make an acronym out of the word. That Scrod actually was its own word. That it wasn't an acronym back then. It was actually like probably Dutch or Old Norse or something.
Oh, okay, interesting. I think we've just proven in the scene leading up to this, the establishing shot of the high school, that Winifred can't read. We've established what I said before. Well, they walk up and they say, "What is this place? It reeks of children." And she says, "It's a prison for children." And it says school on the it says something high school right there. I mean, they had schools in in 1693. I promise they did. And they had the word for school.
Well, we did already establish that. They do I love the moment, though, when they're repeating when
they come out after they've been burned alive. Burned alive in a kiln. This is brutal.
It is brutal.
Being burned alive is not funny. She's trying to blow out the flames. No.
You don't think it's funny?
This should have been a hard R.
Oh, my God.
Hard R.
Jacob Bailey High School.
Who is Jacob Bailey? I know you did the research for this.
What are you talking about?
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, Jacob, but do you know what this building actually was?
Before you start, I want to mention something because
Okay,
I
go
have
ahead.
a feeling it's going to be long.
It's not.
So this the house that's behind Max's head right here, I guess it's how many years after this? 6 years after this, when Thora Birch was, I think, 17 years old, 16, 17 years old. She somewhat famously, as a minor, showed her breasts in a very famous scene in the film American Beauty. In the house that's behind Max's head right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the second story, one of those windows up there. There's a famous scene from that movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Do you love me less for saying that I've never seen American Beauty?
No. It doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, if it were on and you walked into the room, you'd go, this is a Dustin movie, and you would walk away.
Yeah, probably.
That's what would come out of your mouth.
Probably.
Okay.
Now, I'm sure I would appreciate it for its artistic value.
I don't know. It hasn't aged well.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, then
okay.
I wouldn't.
So what about Jacob Bailey?
Jacob Bailey High School. Where they filmed the high school, it was actually the old Phillips Elementary School, which closed a year before filming in Salem. In Salem? Wait, where did they actually film this? Did they film it in Salem?
Not in Salem. I think they filmed some stuff in Salem, some stuff in Los Angeles, and then in a town near Salem.
So I don't know where the Phillips High School or elementary school actually was.
I don't know, yeah.
So I don't know. But anyways, Jacob Bailey, the name, they just made up the name of the school and stuck the sign on there. Jacob Bailey was a United States born Church of England clergyman and author in the late 1700s.
Did he have anything to do with the witch trials?
No, I didn't say anything about that.
Late
It would have been after
1700s?
that. Yeah.
Did you say late? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he died in like 1805 or something.
Oh,
so.
yeah. He wouldn't have even been around.
But anyway, so I have no idea why they picked him, except that he had to do with New England. Sounded good?
This terrible reverse shot right here, because I guess they couldn't afford to re-render the smoke going back into the school like in a natural way. So the green smoke that the witches turn into goes back into the school, and they come out of the kiln having survived. So I guess they're...
they can't. I guess they can't die on this day.
They're invincible?
On this day, for 24 hours, unless they suck the life out of enough children, or one
right.
child.
I'll accept it.
I don't know. Again, I don't think this movie really takes its mythology very seriously. It doesn't take the origins of its mythology seriously. It doesn't take its own mythology that it's presenting seriously. It's a silly movie. But it's a fun movie that makes me happy.
I guess they're using... I guess if they're using Mary, Kathy Najimy character...
Right, she's
Mary,
like a dog. She's been making barking noises the whole movie. Well, she has.
It's terrible. But yeah, she just smelled Max on the shoes that Ice stole from him earlier. And now they've got Ice and... what was his name? Jay? I think Jay and Ice are their names.
I don't remember.
Now they've got them in cages at their little witch cottage. And Sarah Jessica Parker
Is
just...
being promiscuous
just being a...
throughout this whole movie.
She's just a pedophile.
Yeah.
She is a straight up boy crazy pedophile.
It's not just children though. It's adult men too. Like she was into the bus driver.
That's right, and she was making out with
it's
the
just
the
anything
zombie
with a
guy at the
penis.
party.
So God, see, look, her hair's curly now.
Yeah.
Or wavy.
Yeah,
wavy.
it's wavy.
Crimpy.
Guess what? She was just right, by the way. They're trying to remember the spell without the spell book, or they remember the potion. And they said, like, dead man's nose, dead man's whatever. And she screams, dead man's toes, because she was screaming it at the beginning of the movie. And they shoo her away.
Yeah, they don't listen to her because she's the dumb one. Dumbest. The dumbest.
The dumbest, yes.
Anyways, like, when I was a little girl and me and my friends loved this movie, we all wanted to be her so bad. Like, it was always like, we should go as the Sanderson, when you've got 3 friends, we should go as the Sanderson sisters for Halloween. How fun would that be? But, of course, no one wants to go as anyone except for Sarah Sanderson, of course. She is the epitome. She is so hot in this movie. How did she get so hot for this movie?
I would gladly crossplay as Mary, Kathy and Jeannie's character.
Well, you weren't around when this movie came out.
I would even bring my own vacuum cleaner.
I would be so happy to have you do that with me.
That's what we should be for Christmas.
Christmas.
What the hell is wrong with me?
Do we dress up for Christmas now?
That's even better idea. I'm a genius. That's what we should be for Halloween this year. We haven't decided yet.
No, for Christmas.
You can be Sarah. I'll be Mary.
Oh my God. But yeah, like, she is the epitome though of the hot, sexy witch that every woman wants to be at every trashy Halloween party they start going to in
Sarah
college.
Jessica Parker,
right? Because she's not really hot in anything else.
I don't find her very attractive, but she works.
Even
it works
her nose in this movie is like totally unnoticeable. It's just fine. Like, maybe it's the pale makeup or something, but like, she's just hot in this movie.
But that's definitely why they cast her. Like, they cast her in the role to be the hot one, right?
And she is.
Because she's got the little corset and she's got
with
her boobs
boobies
all
sticking
pushed
out.
Up, yeah.
I mean, she is the hot one in this, and she totally. I mean, like I said, we all wanted to be her.
She sells it, yeah.
And,
I mean,
you're
speaking from the perspective of a young girl who watched this at the time.
Yeah. We of the 3, we wanted to be her. And even when I got older, when I got into college, like, I mean, she is the epitome of what girls dress up as now when they go to Halloween parties as slutty witches. Like, they look like her. God, I love the costumes too. I love her costume. I love Winnie's. I love all 3 of their costumes.
They got the eye light going on right here.
Their costumes are so great.
You know,
bye, cruel world.
I was talking before about how Kenny Ortega kind of made a living making made for TV Disney Channel original movies after this, specifically the High School Musical trilogy. And I always thought that this movie kind of looked like a high school, or not a high school.
Oh, there was our
hint
yes.
screenshot from earlier. Yeah, it was
which
kind
a lot
of
of
nice
people
shot.
guessed.
A lot of people guessed it. Yeah, people love this movie.
People, as they should.
Like, seriously, they love this movie.
I love this movie.
Kind of unreasonably.
But would say
that's the thing, is that I think that this movie kind of still looks it's like a slightly swankier Disney Channel original movie. Interestingly, that's how it started. Like, the script.
Oh, really?
The script was written as a Disney Channel original movie, and then Disney saw the script and they're like, "Oh, we could throw some actors at this, and we could make this a thing." So they put Bette Midler in the lead role, who's great. Like, she's great. I love Bette Midler. And then they decided to release it as a summer movie against Jurassic Park. I mean, that's...
You know, the thing is that if they had just gone with it and they had just done it as a Disney Channel original movie released around Halloween, it probably would have done way better.
Yeah, maybe. But it wouldn't have the reputation it does now, because no one talks about how good Halloween Town is.
Well, because it isn't.
I know. I know it's not good, but...
But this movie is good. You're hating a lot, and I agree with the things you're pointing out. But I think it's a fun movie. It's really fun. It holds up in its funness.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, who's the main character?
I guess Max.
Is it Max or is it Binks?
No, I guess Max.
Or is it Winifred?
Max.
Why Max? What's his arc?
That he
learns how to love Salem?
No, that he learns how to that he learns what the real valuable thing is in life, and that's his little sister.
But that wasn't his problem earlier.
Yeah, it was. He wouldn't take her trick-or-treating. He was being a jerk to her.
But his problem earlier was that he didn't like
because
Salem.
He was being self-centered. And then he learned that really Halloween is about... he learned the true meaning of Halloween. What is this look on your
wish
face?
This is... He's pretty cringy through a lot of this movie, especially like the Jimi Hendrix line with the giving you the number and whatnot, which was also our quote.
Also, I think he's shorter than her, which
yes, he is.
Never works out for me.
That was our quote hint. Also, was the Jimi Hendrix line from earlier, but his line there was a little bit smooth. It was a little bit smooth.
Was it?
Where she reading the salt thing and she's like, useful for keeping away witches and old boyfriends, and he's like, what about new boyfriends?
Was it smooth?
It was a little smooth. He almost got that kiss.
He almost did.
Almost.
God, I love that book. I want it.
She just shot a Hadouken at him.
Hadouken.
I want to re-edit this and just when she opens the book, Hadouken.
Clever little white witch with her salt. In Japan, salt. Of course, salt has been used in magic history, pagan history. I don't know, spiritual history.
I didn't even look that up. Why salt?
Salt? Why salt? Well, it's a symbol of purity and stuff, I guess. Think about in Japan when they use it here. Can you think of like times when we use it here, like when new houses are built?
Yeah, and they throw the salt outside to purify
or like
the
they put little piles of salt in like the entranceways of their houses or outside new shops or things like that. Or another one in sumo, they throw the salt into the ring.
Oh, that's true.
Before the
yeah,
wrestlers.
it's a purification thing in Shinto. Yeah,
it's a purification thing, right? So the circle of salt and all that jazz. But again,
I like this shot right here, this little matte painting. I think it's a matte painting. It looks really nice. And here's...
The house is like that,
James
too.
Horner's song, Come Little Children, I'll Take Thee Away.
Didn't you say she really sings this, too?
Yeah, she actually really sings it.
I think she does a good job.
She does fine. She does a fine job.
I love this little song. I wish it was longer.
Yeah, this is all there really is to it. There's no official recording of the song either.
It's so disappointing. I want a longer version of this song.
So I guess part of the curse makes these kids light candles and carry them with them. I mean, I could just see like
only some of the kids.
She starts singing the song and the kids go into a trance, but then they've got to like stumble through the kitchen drawer for a lighter, and they're like, "Mom, where's the matches? I gotta get this candle."
But all of them didn't have it. Some of them couldn't find their lighter.
Go get my soul sucked out.
Also, no parents notice again when their children...
They're at the party.
...walk out. Oh, yes, that's right. All the parents are at the party.
I guess we can assume all the parents are at the party.
Right, everyone. Everyone goes to a party.
Except for Gary and Penny Marshall.
Right. No one was there to receive trick-or-treaters.
They're filing divorce papers for the little little thing that happened in their house earlier.
Oh.
Yeah, and this is another thing that... all of the kids going to the cottage leads to maybe my biggest problem with the movie, and that is Winifred's motivations for continuing to chase Danny into the last, big action scene. Is it even an action scene? I guess it is. The last big action scene of the movie. But I'll talk about that when we get there. So they're back at their cottage. They're brewing the potion, and Thora Birch is tied to a chair, and poor Binks the cat is...
He's in a bag.
He's in a bag, a little sack next to the fire.
No, it's a cat sack.
Cat sack.
It's a bag full of cats. His head is like a bag full of cats. That was a bag full of one cat.
Bette Midler said that this is her most favorite role that she's ever done. This is her most favorite movie that she's ever worked on. It must have been
so much fun.
And that's one thing that you can see that really comes through in the movie, that everyone is obviously having a great time making this.
How could they not?
Really light, really fun, nothing's really heavy in it except for the child corpses and the hanging. but What are you gonna do? Dead
Give it
kids
up,
and
Dustin.
executions.
Give it up.
The biting off of their own tongues is a little bit troubling too.
But I like that
No,
stuff.
I like it. I like that
So
element,
what
yeah.
that it's in a kid's movie? It didn't hurt me. It didn't hurt me to have that stuff going on in my kid's movie.
Even though it does feel cartoonish. It does feel like a cartoon. It doesn't feel like as neutered as a movie like this could feel. Like if this movie were made today, it would feel neutered, like a kid's movie, you know. But it's got a little bit of an edge to it. There's something to
that.
it.
I prefer that my kids' movies don't pretend like kids can't handle everything, that we've got to utterly censor them from. They're just going to find it elsewhere. If you don't put it into their stuff, then they're just going to find it elsewhere. And I'm not saying we should put, highly inappropriate stuff in children's movies. We shouldn't. But I don't think that adding the word virgin a few times or adding someone biting off their tongue or something like that is, well, not biting off their tongue. That would be pretty awful.
Max right there.
Biting a piece of their tongue.
Did you hear what Max said right there about daylight savings time? He said, "I know something you don't know, daylight savings time," and then the car lights come up. When he says that, he's totally telling the truth. October 31st, 1993 was the exact day that the clocks, quote unquote, fell back.
Why would they go to the trouble of making sure that, I always just assumed that, my whole thing, every time I've ever heard that line, I was always like, the witches don't know what daylight savings time is.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just assumed he was lying. So, but I was like, why are you lying about it? Because they don't know what daylight savings time is anyways. So
He's still
why does it matter?
I mean, it's still a little too early. But
it
is the exact day.
What I'm saying though is, why would they go to the trouble of making that, which has no importance in the plot or anything of the story, and honestly, you sit there and you just go, they don't know what daylight savings time is anyway, so it doesn't matter that he says it and it be right. Why would they go to the trouble of making sure that was right, but not go to the trouble of making sure that their prophecy was actually right? And that it was actually a full moon.
I don't know.
Or the correct day of the week to have school.
Because they're hoping that the Hocus Pocus will convince you that it's that everything in this movie is logically sound and anachronistically, not even anachronistic. Anachronistic means it does not fit within the time period. That it's all temporally and culturally
correct.
Look,
that kid is carrying a whole pumpkin. He was.
That kid got a different memo.
Go get a whole pumpkin,
carve it, put a candle in it, and bring it to have your soul sucked out.
But he's one of the first ones to arrive, so he was on top of it.
This is it. This is the thing that I have the biggest problem with. They are now at the house. Danny has escaped with Max and Allison and Binks, and they're gone. All of these kids are now at the house. They don't have to go chase after Danny. They've got a bunch of kids outside their house ready to have the life sucked out of them.
It's the whole... I mean, how many movies do this thing? How many movies do this thing?
What specifically motivates her?
That she wants vengeance on Danny specifically for calling her ugly. Yeah, it's stupid.
It's so stupid.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's the witches... I guess they're...
she just said the driver's permit line, right?
You got your driver's permit.
Because they totally know what that is.
Yeah.
In 1693.
In 1693, they totally got driver's permits to drive a wagon or a horse.
Goat cart.
I thought you said go-kart. I was like, what? Colonial go-karts? That sounds amazing.
No, goat cart.
Yes, a goat cart. I got it. It's really stupid. Why? She called me ugly, so I'm going to go chase her down and risk my life for that.
Right,
That's the witch's weakness, I guess, is vanity.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Do they want eternal life or do they want youth and beauty?
Well, they want both. What are you talking about? The whole thing from the beginning is, oh, we're younger, right?
Young
like they
and
want
beautiful.
they want to be young and beautiful.
This moment right here when the moths flying out of his mouth are real moths that were not dead.
He put moths in his mouth?
They put moths in his mouth and put the little, whatever the stitches were, put them down and had him cut.
How did he not smush him?
He was very careful. Doug Jones is a master. Now, the line that he just said right there where he insults her and he calls her a wench and a trollop and some
what if the moth
overgrown firefly.
flew down his mouth while he was went down
He wasn't
his
breathing
throat?
through his mouth. It's fine. He's fine. Jeez, we're lingering on the moth. Doug Jones on the Geekly Yoked podcast said that in the original script, he was supposed to cut open his mouth and just scream, bitch.
Whoa!
And that's it. That was the line. Just
Whoa.
bitch. Bette Midler's character.
That's a little...
And Doug Jones got to rewrite the line. He was like, okay, well, that's a little harsh. How about we say wench and trollop and what is he? Overgrown fire... Trollymog and something else, something firefly from hell, which is a much, much better line. Also, this is one of the only roles that we actually get to hear Doug Jones' voice in, because he's usually just a physical actor. He does the physical performance, and I think even in the case of the Silver Surfer, someone else did the voice of the surfer while he did the mocap. But yeah, that's kind of cool.
Someone else does the voice of Thackeray Binks. We haven't talked about that.
That's right. Yes. Was it an actual British person?
I think his name was Jake something Marsden.
Jason Marsden?
Jason? Yeah,
maybe. I don't think he's not related to
James
Marsden.
Yeah, not related to that person. Jason Marsden, I think.
I think it's what it is.
So they had him do the voice for the cat, Thackeray Binks, and then they were like, well, it would be stupid to have a different person's voice on the boy, Thackeray Binks. So the poor kid who got cast as Thackeray Binks the boy didn't get to use his voice in the movie.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But
which kind of blew my mind
but
when
he's in the movie.
When I realized that as an adult, which I didn't realize till I did the research for this movie. I was like, what? The cute little British voice that I loved when I was a child isn't actually attached to the cute little boy that I loved when I was a child? And I was pretty devastated for about half a second. And then I got over it. And now I'm okay again. And,
we did mention the anachronistic margarine line from earlier, but there is where Mary,
the margarine.
Mary's talking about the scrod, and she's says that you can cook it with margarine and garlic.
Margarine wasn't made until 1869 in France,
and she wouldn't know what margarine is anyway because of that, right? But there according to the original trailer for this, there are some scenes that never made it into the final movie, one of which is them inside a grocery store, a supermarket.
Really?
Yeah, so
that would have been cool.
That could explain why she knows what margarine is from their little
maybe they
micro
saw
adventure
some margarine, but they can't read, so
right. Oh, that's right. I forgot they can't read. So we still don't understand why they need the spell book.
Why doesn't he just let it break right there?
Yeah, that's a...
No, Thackeray Binks.
Oh, he just got smashed on a rock.
No.
Animal cruelty is the best.
No.
Violence against helpless, immortal animals.
Yeah, why didn't he just let it smash?
She got smashed on a rock, but he's just going to come back to life.
No. What? Right.
Well, I know. But why didn't he let the potion smash?
Yes. Why didn't he? Okay, because after he's holding it, she's like,
smash it and I'll kill her.
Smash it and I'll kill her. But if she had been the dumb one to drop it and it be smashed, then it's not his. She can't make that threat, right? Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess in hindsight, he's looking back and he's like, well, now she has to chase me and has to let go of my sister, and that's fine and everything, but I don't think he was thinking like that when he caught it.
Oh, there was in support of my my theory or my observation that Bette Midler's performance is heavily influenced by Dustin Hoffman's performance in Hook. She actually says the line, "Prepare to meet thy doom," which is not only a line straight out of J.M. Barrie's Peter and Wendy, but it's also a line that is repeated by Dustin Hoffman in Hook. And she says that in this scene right here.
Wow, interesting.
I think
there's you're probably right.
I think there's some legitimacy.
What year was Hook?
91. It was 91. Yeah, I think.
So there's probably some legitimacy to that.
So during this fight scene where they're chasing the kids around, or when they were chasing the kids around, the background music kind of sounds like Miss Gulch's theme from The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I was talking about. So there's definitely some Wizard of Oz references in here, and the thing that I've heard was that Sarah's hair going from curly to straight and back again is a reference to Dorothy's hair.
That's interesting.
Being different lengths throughout the movie.
So this confused me a little bit. She is on hallowed ground,
right, which
now.
is why she's going to turn to stone.
Right.
But it just hasn't happened yet.
Right. So when the sun comes up, her sisters, who are still on the brooms, they just explode into dust. And Winifred, because she's on hallowed ground, begins to turn into stone. So she turns into stone first and then explodes into dust.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what are you confused about?
Oh, nothing. Just when I initially saw this, I was like, what? She's on hallowed ground. What does that mean? And then she started turning to stone. They made 7 statues of Bette Midler.
7?
They made 7 of them. One of them's at a Planet Hollywood, or was it a Planet Hollywood? Do Planet Hollywoods exist anymore?
I don't know.
Have you ever been to a Planet Hollywood?
Yeah. I've been to a Planet Hollywood.
They were
but
super lame.
We've been out of the States for a while, so.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if they exist anymore, but I think one of the statues was at a Planet Hollywood in Orlando, maybe? Maybe it was in Orlando.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool to have a big statue of Bette Midler, like, in your front yard.
Would it? Would it be cool? Our definitions
Totally.
of cool are very,
It'd
very
be like
different.
the coolest lawn ornament. Way better than like a little gnome or something.
Oh, it's got to be year round, and you got to put a Santa hat on her during Christmas and a fake beard,
I think it's a good idea.
and you got to put an America hat and a little.
I teared up again a little here at the end
Uncle
when
Sam
I rewatched
beard.
it. I teared up a little when Thackeray Binks goes away and rejoins with his sister in the afterlife.
You mean when you were a child?
No, I mean I was an adult.
Oh, you mean yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Are you proud of me? Are you proud of yourself for marrying me?
Proud. Omri Katz is the name of the actor who plays Max, and the role was actually originally offered to Leonardo DiCaprio, who dodged a fucking bullet.
What?
But he
You don't think it would have been a better movie if Leo had been in it?
almost definitely
Right.
is a better
So
actor.
then you say dodged a bullet, and I say,
Yeah,
oh,
but
that's
him
too
being in
bad.
it is not going to improve the material any.
But it would have improved
At
the
least
acting
one
of
of
Max.
the young actors' performances. I think the I don't know her name, but the actress
No,
that plays
Binks.
Allison. There is that flat cat again. Did they just drag out
Yeah,
the
it's the same one.
It's the same.
It's gotta
It's the
be.
same prop.
This is what was so upsetting. I cried because a cat is dead, and that's just
Well,
really
not only
traumatic.
that, but he dies on his sister's grave.
That's really
That's
terrible.
really poetic. And
It's
sad.
so sad. Poor kitty.
You have a soft
Just
spot for
upsets me.
CG cats.
No, for all cats.
Oh, and now he's
I'm
a
not
creep.
prejudiced against CG cats or real
now,
cats.
Now we've got the Casper ending, where the
I thought the boy in Casper was cute too.
I know that actor. That's Devon Sawa, and he's been in some.
He was
some
also
stuff.
cute.
Yeah, this little bit of a.
My middle name is Casper,
It is
which is why my Twitter handle is Jesse Casper.
Yeah. This little bit of primitive special effects compositing is there's a little moment here that's kind of funny, where when he leans over to kiss Danny, there's a strand of her hair, like a thick strand of her hair that's going behind his head that disappears when he leans in. Although his face is translucent, you should be able to see that hair, but you don't because of the compositing. There was an error in compositing.
Yeah, I just watched it and didn't really make a difference in the moment for me. I'm gonna be honest.
Are you crying right now?
No.
You're crying a little bit.
What?
Your eyes look a little glassy.
You are crazy.
It is kind of dusty in here.
I mean, I was pretty upset about the cat a second ago. I had to wait 300 years for a virgin to light a candle.
Number 9. 9th time they've said the word virgin.
I mean, he says that really like, virgin. But
he
I
put
mean,
some stink on it.
I gotta assume that kid's a virgin, right? He's like,
Yeah, he's probably fucked some other cats.
What? No. I was talking about him as a boy.
Well, he's spent 300 years as a cat. He's almost definitely fucked some cats.
Don't bring cat sex into this.
I'm surprised the movie didn't bring it up itself. It's so weirdly like edgy and crude in places that doesn't need to be.
Oh, you're a terrible person.
Did I just ruin your childhood?
Please stop.
Forever. Did you know that Sarah Jessica Parker, let's see, she plays a witch that was executed during the Salem witch trials, supposedly. But while researching her family history for a show called Who Do You Think You Are, Parker was shocked to discover that her 10th great-grandmother, Esther Elwell, was arrested in Salem in the late 1600s for committing, quote, sundry acts of witchcraft.
For
unquote,
real?
and choking a neighbor to death.
What?
Esther's case never went to court, so she escaped with her life, and the accusation ended the Salem witch trials.
For real?
That accusation ended the Salem witch trials. And Sarah Jessica Parker said that it has changed everything about who she thought she was.
That is so cool.
Isn't that?
Oh, my God. I wish I found out that I had some awesome history like that. That is so cool.
Yep, it's pretty cool. Do you
What
have
a fantastic tie.
Do you have any weird trivia?
No, not anymore. I think I've used it all up.
When I talked about how Leo DiCaprio was up for the role of Max. Rosie O'Donnell was actually initially offered the role of Mary Sanderson, the role that Kathy Najimy ended up taking.
Rosie O'Donnell, really?
Yeah, but it was Rosie O'Donnell actually said on her blog that she turned it down because she didn't want to be a scary witch.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Didn't want to be
Rosie
a
O'Donnell
scary witch.
spent years pretending to have a crush on Tom Cruise, like it was her thing, is that she had the Rosie O'Donnell show, and her thing was, I'm so in love with Tom Cruise, he is so dreamy. And then she came out as gay. And everyone's just like, do you guys remember when Rosie O'Donnell pretended for years to be in love with Tom Cruise? Isn't that like really weird and cringeworthy in retrospect?
Yeah, it is. Weird.
But I'm glad she came out. That's that's something to be proud of for sure.
But Tom Cruise, why?
Well, I guess you don't have a thing for Tom Cruise, like, you know.
No, I have a thing.
I'm not even going to say most.
I had a thing for Thackeray Binks.
You had a thing for Devon Sawa and the kid who plays Thackeray Binks.
When I was in 4th grade and Titanic came out, I had a thing for Leonardo. He was my first boy crush, like Leo. Oh, God. In 4th grade in Titanic.
There was a song called Almost Unreal by a Swedish pop band called Roxette. And it was originally meant to be included in this movie's soundtrack, but it was dropped and later used in a little masterpiece called Super Mario Brothers from the same year, 1993. I guess we're going to have to do Super Mario Brothers
Yeah,
at
you
some
love
point.
that stupid movie, don't you?
There's something about it. It is
Yeah.
very watchable to me.
Is it?
It's a bad movie.
Yeah, it is.
But
It's really
there's
bad.
something about it.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. That brings us to the end of another episode of the Popcorn Poops.
Pumpkin Poops.
Pumpkin Poops, as we are currently. You can find us, as always, at our website, www.popcornpoops.com. You can also find us on iTunes, where you can subscribe to us, and we'd really appreciate it if you left us a rating and review. We've still got 2 little reviews.
They're both real good, though.
They're great reviews. We love them, and they're holding strong until we get some others, but please, we'd really appreciate that. We work hard on the show, and we'd like to hear some feedback about how we're doing. You can also find us on Twitter and on Facebook. And you can just follow us on Twitter at Pumpkin Poops at Popcorn Poops. And you can get all of our updates on the show and when the show's coming out. Drops every Monday, and little hints, little screen caps, and quotes and movie quotes and whatnot about what movie we may be doing in the future. And you can also follow us individually on Twitter. I'm at Dusty Cram Cram.
And I'm at Jesse Casper.
And until next time, take care.
Bye-bye.
We are the Pumpkin Poops.
Every week on the In Session Film Podcast, you can expect to hear reviews on all of the latest movies, big films, small films, and everything in between. We'll also do top 3 segments relating back to our main review. We discuss all of the latest movie news and rumblings, as well as have movie series and other fun segments. And we always talk about the films that we're watching and why you should watch them or not watch them as well. If you want to learn more about the In Session Film podcast, check us out online at InSessionFilm.com. You can hear our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and so much more. In fact, you can listen to everything we have straight from our website. Again, that is InSessionFilm.com. Download our podcast, check us out, and come join us every week. We'd love to hear from you.